I was at the hospital for fertility prep counseling when a heavily pregnant woman cut the line without warning. I nearly stumbled. She only lifted her chin higher. "Open your eyes, can't you see I'm pregnant?" Before I could answer, a familiar silhouette flickered in my peripheral vision. I hadn't even raised a hand to greet him when the woman brushed past me and threw herself into his arms, cooing, "Husband." I froze. If Simon is her husband, then who, exactly, is my husband? Husband and I hadn't seen each other in a year. The instant I spotted his hurrying figure, I felt a rush of joy and confusion. I hadn't even hit dial when he appeared. How did he know something had happened? I started to smile and stepped forward, but a delicate shadow flew past me and landed in his arms first. "Husband, you're finally here. One more minute and they'd have bullied me to death." She wept and pouted, nothing like the haughty shrew who'd just bickered with me. I stood frozen, watching them embrace. If Simon is her husband, then who is mine? Simon's brows were knit tight as he gently wiped her tears. The tenderness in his eyes almost spilled over. One button on his normally perfect shirt was askew. He'd clearly rushed out. "Good girl, don't be scared. Husband's here." He sheltered her against his chest, careful of her belly. "Does anything feel off?" She looked 7 or 8 months along. She bit her lip and whimpered, "Kind of, a little pain." Simon's face darkened. He ordered the man beside him, "Handle this. Anyone who lays a finger on my baby won't get off easy." When the man nodded, Simon swept her up and strode away. The corridor was packed. Dozens of eyes followed the drama. He didn't care what scandal those ostentatious moves might ignite. His whole world had narrowed to that woman and the child inside her. I was only a few steps away, yet he never once looked in my direction. The spectacle over, the crowd finally dispersed, leaving Lifelong, tasked with cleaning up the mess, about to demand an apology. He lifted his head, saw my face, and froze. "Mrs. Sterling?" The title drew a bitter laugh from me. My legs felt weighted with lead, my head replaying the scene on loop. What else was there to decode? While I'd spent a year abroad, my husband had kept a woman by his side, so openly even his lifelong friend played along. They already had their new Mrs. Sterling, so what am I? Maybe my eyes were too red. Carter walked over, awkward. "Look, Simon's just playing a part. Now that you're back, he'll sort the mess out, will he?" My vision blurred, my voice husky. If he meant to end it, would he let the pregnancy come this far? Carter opened his mouth, then shut it. My heart was a tangle of threads. Simon and I had known each other since college, a textbook Jamie, proof, I thought, that heaven had handed me a perfect love. Turns out it was merely a chapter, and the book had closed. The deed was done, I couldn't unsee it. I ducked my head, whisked away the tears, and said, "If you feel you owe me anything, do me one favor." "What?" "Don't tell Simon I was here today." Ignoring his conflicted stare, I walked out of the hospital. The lab results in my hand felt thick. Now they felt like a bad joke. If our marriage had a flaw, it was children. We used to be the golden couple of our circle. Arranged, yes, but grounded in childhood affection. Simon had been meticulous, never once raising his voice. Friends and relatives all said I'd married the right man. Yet 6 years in, I still wasn't pregnant. During my year overseas, while fixing Sterling's crisis, I'd juggled doctors and herbal cures. No need now, someone else was delivering his child. I tossed the entire stack of medical reports into a waste bin, opened navigation, and drove to a law office. All the way, scenes flashed through my mind: Simon kneeling on the campus quad proposing senior year, Simon cradling that woman outside the ultrasound room. When I reached Hartwell, the attorney blanched at my pallor. Only in the mirror did I realize my lips had lost all color. I asked about divorce. I'd just closed a massive deal abroad. Divorcing Simon now would cost me a fortune. After hearing me out, the lawyer urged caution. This was hardly the moment for a split. "Doesn't matter, draft the petition," I said calmly. My marriage to Simon had reached a dead end. There was no road back. That afternoon I took the papers to Sterling Tower. I pushed open the executive suite door and nearly collided with Simon. He had a briefcase in one hand, a small wheelie in the other. Seeing me, his face lit in surprise. "Serena, you're back? Why didn't you let me pick you up?" Before I could speak, he rattled on, apologetic, "I had no idea you'd return today. I've got a partnership pitch in the next state over. I'll have the driver take you home, you must be exhausted. Rest up, when things settle, we'll holiday in Switzerland." Had I not witnessed the hospital scene, I might have swallowed every word. I stared straight into his eyes, not a flicker of guilt. I couldn't help thinking, with acting this polished, why run a company? Hollywood would hand him an Oscar. Simon, let's divorce. My tone was so flat he didn't even flinch, he simply sighed and reached to ruffle my hair. Stop the drama. Wait for me at home. I tilted my head away. His hand met empty air, confusion crossed his face. He opened his mouth, but his phone rang. Glancing at the screen, he paled. Serena, be good, I'm late. We'll talk when I'm back. He hurried off. I scanned the office. After a year away, new trinkets dotted the shelves. A lipstick lay carelessly on the desk, a lacy bra peeked from a folder. I smiled coldly. Well, they certainly knew how to keep things interesting. I narrowed my eyes, picturing that woman's swollen belly, at least 7 months along. Count back. Before I left, they'd already been sneaking around right under my nose. The instant I got on the plane, she conceived, too neat to be coincidence. My trip abroad was probably orchestrated by Simon himself, a convenient way to park me on the other side of the world while his love child cooked in peace. I remembered the nights I'd apologized to him for still not being pregnant after years of marriage, and how gently he'd soothed me. Doesn't matter if we never have a baby. Having my little treasure, you, is enough. I'd actually cried happy tears. Now it's obvious the plan was, if Serena can't produce, someone else will. Pathetic. Simon still FaceTimed every day, texting updates like clockwork. I'm slammed, babe. Drop dead tired. Soon as I hit the hotel, I'm comatose. Miss you. Next trip, I'm dragging you with me. I never answered. My phone was glutted with surveillance prints from the private investigator. Simon never left Eastbrook. Day after day he cozied up to that woman, the two of them sticky sweet, basically on a second honeymoon. Line the two feeds side by side and you'd think Simon had an identical twin. 1 week of business travel, then home. I texted, office. I'll wait. He walked in, took in the scene, paused half a beat, then smiled like nothing was off. Why meet here, and why is the whole gang invited? The board members I'd summoned looked around, confused, but the air felt wrong and no one spoke. I didn't answer. Calmly, I pulled a stack of documents from my bag and spread them across the conference table. Equity transfer agreement, corporate proxy reassignment, and, last, the divorce petition. The grin died on Simon's face when his eyes hit the final sheet. Finally, he twitched a smile. Serena, when did you turn into such a corporate shark? My tone was flat. Review them. If they're clean, sign. We're done. His expression stiffened, then morphed back to indulgent husband. Stop the drama, sweetheart. People have work. Board, give us the room, married stuff to sort out. The directors exchanged glances, nobody moved. Cornered, Simon switched tactics, fishing a blue velvet box from his jacket. Serena, look. My gaze landed on the necklace, center sapphire deep and calm as the open sea. I hunted this down for you. Remember how much you wanted it? Back when we were dating, I'd mentioned loving sapphires, my lucky stone. I swore they'd bring me fortune. At our wedding, I'll deck you in sapphires, head to toe, he'd whispered, mouth at my ear, arm around my waist. We'd pinky sworn. Wedding day came, no jewels. With Simon's contacts, a sapphire necklace was child's play. He simply hadn't bothered. Now, a guilt offering. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. Sign. The charm drained from his face, he turned grave. You're serious? I tossed a fat envelope of surveillance prints across the table. What do you think? Even a stranger could read those photos, bodies tangled, her belly huge. Mr. Sterling, who is this woman? Asked a director who'd known me since grade school. Simon pressed his lips together, perfectly calm. You've got it wrong, Serena. She's Carter's. I'm only looking after her for him. Call them right now if you need proof. So earnest you'd swear I was the delusional one. I smiled, tapped speaker, and said to the phone, Carter, how does it feel to be told you're about to be a dad? Long silence, then a strangled groan. Serena, am I just a pawn in your little stage play? I kept my eyes on Simon. Don't flatter yourself. I didn't drag you into the mud. Simon lurched toward the phone. Carter, tell her, Sophia's carrying your kid, right? Help me out here. I drawled, yeah, if the baby's yours, claim it fast. Don't let poor Simon take the fall, we're signing papers any minute. Under Simon's desperate stare, Carter exhaled. Sorry, man. Can't lie for you. Click, he hung up. I met Simon's ashen face. Seems your best man won't hold the bag. Tapping the divorce petition, I added, "Save us the soap opera." Sign. He shook his head. "No, Serena, this is a misunderstanding. I don't know why Carter's denying it, but after all these years you should trust me. I could never betray you." Eyes blazing, the same look he'd worn when pledging lifelong love at the altar. Too bad I hadn't seen through the act then. "Simon, last week at the hospital you swore you'd crush anyone who touched your baby. Remember?" I stood, voice ice cold. "Well, here I am. Show me how you're going to crush me." His eyes ballooned, face ghost white. "That was you." I nodded. "Me. I saw everything. Still want to lie your way out?" Simon still refused to sign anything. I couldn't care less. His cheating during the marriage was a documented fact. Even if we ended up in court, this divorce was happening. But Simon acted possessed, having bouquets delivered to my new waterfront villa every day, along with sapphire jewelry. I told the housekeeper to toss the flowers into the waste bin. She thought it a pity and asked if she could take them home to freshen the bathroom. I generously agreed. As for the sapphire pieces, I resold them and funneled every dollar to the Rural Scholarship Fund. Simon's morals are bankrupt. I won't sink to his level. That night Bestie dragged me to a club. She's fearless by nature and casually ordered 3 models, one to pour wine, one for abs stroking, one to croon love songs. I watched, a little envious. Back when I was with Simon, I rarely set foot in bars or lounges for fear he'd disapprove. Maybe to make up for those lost years, I retaliated by booking 18 models in one go. Even Bestie stared at me in shock. I sipped my drink, let my gaze drift over the parade of abs, and curved my lips. Snapped a photo for Instagram. Caption: "Sis is living the good life." Likes and comments poured in. Bestie clutched her phone, gleeful. "Think Simon'll rush over and catch you red-handed?" I rolled my eyes. "Catch me at what? We're getting divorced. Besides, he got another woman pregnant. He has no right to lecture me." Turns out I gave him too much credit. Some people are simply shameless. Simon's calls came one after another until I lost patience. "What? Serena, where are you? Gigi took you to that kind of place, didn't she?" he sputtered. "I warned you she's bad news, stay away. Gigi is my bestie." I had him on speaker, her brows shot up. She mouthed, "He's the bad news." I lifted a brow, signaled I'd cover the tab, and she eased off. "Where I am is none of your business. Be smart and sign the divorce petition before we both end up in court looking ridiculous." Simon's tone softened. "Serena, what do I have to do for you to forgive me?" Listening to him play devoted made me nauseous. "Simon, I won't forgive you." "Stop daydreaming. You still love me," he insisted. "Otherwise why keep my flowers and sapphires?" I snorted, lazy and amused. "Oh, those? The flowers are probably wilting beside a toilet bowl, and the sapphires are back on the market. Prices may have gone up." The line went dead. Apparently he couldn't take it. Bestie gave me a thumbs up. "Queen." I clinked her glass. I sipped the fresh cocktail. Minutes later my head spun. Frowning, I realized the alcohol packed a punch. After settling the bill, I told Gigi the remaining 18 models were hers and headed out. Waiting for my driver, I swayed and collided with someone's chest. "Ow, what's so hard?" I muttered, rubbing my forehead. A familiar voice answered, "I was about to say the same about your skull." Dazed, I looked up. "Carter? What are you doing here?" Carter's smile carried a bite. "Serena, you can't use me like a gadget and toss me aside. I betrayed my best friend for you." My head throbbed, I brushed him off. "Fine, I'll treat you to dinner sometime." He caught my arm and leaned in. "You asked for secrecy, then sold me out. Why should I trust a word you say?" His breath tickled my ear. I tried to pull away but felt heavy. "Bull, you covered for Simon plenty. I burn you once and you whine. You're both cut from the same dirty cloth." Darkness edged in. I thought I heard a sigh. When I woke, I was in an unfamiliar bedroom. My clothes had been changed. Panic. Don't tell me I did something stupid? Awake? I jolted. "Carter, why are you here?" He lounged in the doorway, mug in hand, brow lifted. "Why wouldn't I be?" As he approached, I tensed. "What do you want?" "Relax, I don't bite, at least not unwilling prey." He offered the mug. "Honey water, drink." I sniffed, then sipped. Sweet. Memories flickered back, I couldn't gauge his game. After showering, I found 2 breakfasts set out, his handiwork. Decent spread. We finished eating and he offered to drive me home. My phone rang. Mom. Serena, where are you? Simon called, says you vanished. Dad barked in the background, a decent woman doesn't stay out all night. I'd blocked our parents from last night's post. Simon had ratted me out. Before I could speak, Carter took the phone. Riley, it's Carter. I've got Serena, she's advising me on a new deal. I heard my parents laugh through the line. Staring at him, I wondered what his endgame was. He handed the phone back. Taken care of. I accepted it in silence, a little embarrassed. Thanks. The man's lips curved. Don't mention it, just buy me dinner sometime. My mouth twitched. Oh, he still remembers? In the end, I had to let Carter drive me home. The minute I walked in, Simon called. I gave a cold laugh. Perfect, I'd been about to find him. I picked up and didn't bother with pleasantries. Simon, are you kidding me? Running to mommy and daddy because I haven't told them about your little side family and your love child? Serena, don't be so angry. I was afraid something had happened to you. His pious act made me nauseous. Let me say this one last time, sign the papers. Serena, you know I'll never agree to a divorce. The way he said it, you'd think I was the one who'd betrayed him, utterly ridiculous. Then I'll see you in court. I was about to hang up when he said, wait, Serena, Mom wants us to come back to Avery for dinner this weekend. I know you don't want to see me, but Mom's always been good to you, and our families go way back. You won't disrespect her, will you? I frowned, impatient. Fine, should I pick you up? No. My voice was ice. I'll eat one meal for your mother's sake. Simon, stop bothering me. Weekend, I arrived at the Sterling estate as promised. Hearing laughter spill from the living room, I paused and asked House, other guests tonight? Before House could answer, Eleanor's voice rang out. Is that Serena? Come in, come in. I had no choice but to push the door open. The instant I saw the scene inside, the smile on my lips faded. Good evening, Mrs. Sterling. She seemed not to notice the change in how I addressed her, coming forward to take my hand with a bright smile. Serena, let me introduce you. This is Sophia, my new goddaughter. Sophia, this is my daughter-in-law, Serena. The familiar woman in front of me cradled her huge belly, looking surprised and apologetic. So you're the daughter-in-law godmother told me about. I'm sorry, I wasn't feeling well that day and cut the line. I hope Sis won't hold it against me. Godmother? Goddaughter? Does Eleanor know the goddaughter's carrying her own son's child? If she doesn't, this is about to get interesting. If she does, this dinner is clearly a trap laid for me. I slid my hand out of Eleanor's and spoke coolly. Really? You shouted loud enough at me that day. I'd never have guessed you were unwell. Sophia's smile froze, her eyes reproachful. So Sis refuses to forgive me? I said nothing. Seeing Sophia on the verge of tears, Eleanor hurried to smooth things over. It's nothing, and you're pregnant. Serena should give way. Don't you agree, Serena? I stayed silent. Eleanor's own smile dimmed, her tone turned barbed. I see Serena has no intention of indulging an old woman. Godmother, don't be angry, we all respect you. Sophia heaved herself up, patting Eleanor's hand. Eleanor dabbed at imaginary tears. I'm old, all I want is a lively family. My son's been married for years and still no grandchild. Sophia's smile widened. You have the face of someone blessed, you'll be surrounded by grandchildren. I stood to the side, calmly watching their little drama. I had to admire Sophia, 8 months pregnant and still licking boots this hard. Simon emerged from the kitchen carrying a fruit platter. What are you all laughing about? He looked delighted when he saw me. Serena, you're here. He stepped forward to take my hand. I sidestepped. Simon, my stomach hurts a little. Sophia's voice turned syrupy. Simon glanced at me, pressed his lips together, then moved to her side. You okay? He murmured. I pretended not to notice the smug look she shot me. It's fine, baby just kicked, she cooed. Simon gazed at her belly, gentleness filling his eyes. I felt sick. Eleanor kept firing veiled shots. Sophia's so lucky. If only I could hold a grandchild someday. I'd had enough. Mrs. Sterling, your grandson is right there in Sophia's belly. I smiled thinly. What, Simon didn't tell you he's been cheating and sleeping with your goddaughter? The temperature in the room plummeted. Simon's face darkened. Serena, Eleanor cut him off, staring straight at me. Since you already know, I'll speak plainly. Sophia is carrying the sterling heir. You've been married to Simon for years with nothing to show for it. Now that she's pregnant, you ought to be happy. Happy about my husband's affair? Happy about his love child? These people are insane. Mrs. Sterling, when your husband cheated back then, you nearly tore the house down until he sent the woman away. Why the double standard? Eleanor's face flushed scarlet. But I gave Simon. You can't even give us an heir. What good are you? I didn't bat an eye. So a woman's only worth is her uterus? Who helped Simon build Sterling and bailed him out overseas? Don't even try to gaslight me, it won't work. You. Eleanor's finger shook as she pointed at me. Simon finally stepped forward. Serena, how can you speak to Mom like that? I sneered. So the man-baby finally crawled out from behind Mommy's skirt? Serena, Simon's voice cracked like a whip. I'm right here, what? I wasn't the least bit rattled. Louder doesn't mean righter. Sophia whimpered, it's all my fault. I'll leave, sis, please don't fight with Simon. She clutched her belly and bolted for the door. Eleanor panicked, shoving Simon after her. Go, stop her, protect my grandchild. They caught Sophia, she collapsed against Simon, sobbing. Eleanor was heartbroken. Go comfort Sophia right now, her nerves are bad for my grandbaby. Simon was frantic too. He'd been coaxing nonstop, yet Sophia kept blaming herself for wrecking our marriage, threatening to leave and end the pregnancy. I slid in at the first gap, whipped out the divorce petition, and said, Simon, sign this so Miss Rowan can graduate from mistress to Mrs. Sterling, then there's no more influence. The words hit Sophia right in the soft spot. She gazed at Simon with teary pathos. When she saw him hesitate, she clutched her belly and started moaning about cramps. Eleanor chimed in, sign already. What good is a hen that won't lay? So Simon signed the divorce petition. The prize in hand, I spun on my heel to leave. He chased after me. Serena. He stared with the full wounded puppy look. We may be divorced, but I still love you. I rolled my eyes so hard they ached and marched off without a syllable. Word had it that once I left, Sophia boiled at Simon's little farewell speech, her contractions kicked in, her water broke, and she was rushed to the labor wing early. I was sharing lunch with Carter when the news pinged through town. I'd bumped into him outside the Sterling estate. Guy sticks like gum, impossible to shake. He insisted I repay an old favor. I figured it was noon anyway, so why not? But when he slid a folder across the table I froze. What's this? I stared at the first line of the lab diagnosis, azoospermia, and felt the world tilt. Carter sliced my steak for me. Simon's annual physical. Of course I knew whose report it was. The disease was the bombshell. How did you get this? Does Simon know? My gut said no, because if he knew he was shooting blanks he'd never believe Sophia's baby was his. Wait, whose kid is she carrying then? Carter shrugged. Keep flipping. I did. Sure enough, surveillance prints of Sophia meeting another man filled the back pages. I whistled. You play dirty, even for a lifelong. Watching your brother wear the cuckold scandal crown? Carter, what do you really want? His eyes locked on mine. After a beat he smirked. Just adding an extra emerald hue to his hat collection. I went home unsettled, trying to ignore every echo of Carter's words. Rumor said Sophia delivered a boy. Eleanor went berserk, flooding Instagram with 20+ congratulatory posts overnight. The day before the baby's 100-day gala, Simon and I met at City Hall Marriage Bureau to pick up the final divorce decree. He was still oozing soap opera tenderness. Serena, if you ever need anything, come to me, you'll always be my true wife. Pretty sure that won't be necessary. Carter stepped out of his car, wrapped an arm around me, and pulled me close. I shot him a warning glare. He was pushing it, but with Simon watching I let the gesture stand. Simon gawked. Carter? You and Serena? Carter planted a casual kiss on my forehead, grinning. From here on, don't trouble yourself, bro. Serena's my girlfriend now. I've got her covered. Carter. Simon roared and lunged, fists first. Carter shoved me behind him, blocked the swing, and countered in one fluid move. I only played wingman before out of respect for her, he sneered. Thought you were hot stuff, huh, Carter? Let go of me, Simon thrashed, but Carter pinned him. Serena, want me to teach him a lesson for old time's sake? Carter asked over his shoulder. I shook my head, stepped forward, and spoke calmly. Simon, tomorrow is your son's 100-day gala. I prepared a gift, hope you enjoy it. The next evening Eleanor rented a ballroom and invited half of Eastbrook, my parents included. They hadn't wanted to come, but I insisted. An event this auspicious deserved an audience. Sophia swept in glowing, the baby in her arms, shooting me smug glances between greetings. I sat tranquil beside Carter, waiting for the curtain to rise. Lights dimmed, the giant LED wall glowed to life, and instead of infant photos, surveillance prints of Sophia entwined with her secret lover flashed in high-res detail. Sophia's face drained to chalk. Eleanor's hand flew before her mind caught up. She slapped Sophia hard enough to echo. "You dared cheat on my son?" "No, I didn't, those are doctored." Simon's own complexion curdled, but he still played peacemaker. "Mom, calm down, they're obviously fake, I'll run forensics." His sentence died. The next slide splashed his medical report across the screen, his name bolded, diagnosis line screaming azoospermia. He lurched toward Carter and me. "Did you two do this?" I smiled, neither confessing nor denying. "Tell me it's forged, Serena." "You hooked up with Carter to spite me. Everything here is fabricated, right?" "Say it." Carter blocked his path. "Simon, use that CEO brain, verify it yourself, true or false." The party collapsed. Eleanor dragged Sophia and the infant to St. Camilla's Hospital for an emergency paternity test. End of story. The baby wasn't a Sterling. Word as Sophia's cheeks were swollen shut when Eleanor threw her and the kid out, Gigi recited, bursting with glee over WhatsApp voice notes. "Poster boy Simon divorced you for a child that can't even be his. Karma, baby. Total scumbag." May his line end right there. "Honk if you're alive, Serena, why so quiet?" I had no free fingers to text, the man above me wouldn't allow it. "Sis, how's the view?" Carter's voice was sandpaper and velvet. "Here, did he ever touch this spot?" I bit my lip, refusing to answer, until I finally begged for mercy. Dozing off against the ridges of his abs, I mused. "These are better than the 18 cover model torsos I once rented for a party." Cis life is finally on the upswing. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate tonight's tale? If you liked the video, smash the like and share it with friends. Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy stories. See you next episode. Good night.